Okay, so I'm going to make this pretty short tonight. So you have time to study for your quiz tomorrow. Your quiz tomorrow is going to be on two-step linear inequalities. If you go to your IXL page, and this is 8th grade, not Algebra 1, 8th grade, some of our standards sort of overlap between the 8th grade curriculum and the Algebra 1 on this site. We have solutions to two-step linear equations. So you're going to have to be able to solve this equation and then graph it. So you might want to do some practice on 8th grade X7. And again, the big thing to worry about with that one is the rule is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, this is going to switch signs. And we took some notes on that in class. So these types of problems are going to be on your quiz tomorrow. Also, you might want to go back to last week's notes, and I left last week's video up on scatter plots. You're going to have to be able to pick out strong and weak. You're going to have to be able to get the trend line or the linear regression on your calculator. You may want to look at this a little bit more. You need to know if it's a 1, it's a very strong correlation, which means the x-axis is related to the y-axis. So if we're talking about time and distance, that means the time it takes to drive a certain distance is very related. So you need to be able to use the x and the y-axis in your explanation. Again, we talked about weak. If it's 0.5, it's very weak. It's kind of going from left to right, but they're a little bit spread out. And then, of course, you have the 0, where there's just no, you can't tell rise or run or top to bottom on this. They're just all over the place. And the x-axis is not related to the y-axis. I believe we talked about like your eye color versus the number of digits on your hand or something like that. And then the same thing happens for this, except this is for the weak. And this would actually be a -1 here. Okay, so it's the same way as the positive correlation, but the weak is with a negative in front. I also had you copy down this chart. So you need to be able to get the R correlation and then tell me what it says about your data. Okay, so you can have a question on that. And then you're also going to have a question on finding linear regression, which again is on this video from last week. You know, you have to put your, and I also left the calculator video up too for you guys for last week too. So that was Monday, and the scatter plot video was on Tuesday of last week. So you might want to go back and look through those videos. If you're not real confident that you can put your data in the line 1, line 2, you're going to have to be able to get the linear regression, be able to plug that in for A and that in for B, and then tell me what the R correlation coefficient means. For this data, R is 1, so it means the X and the Y are very related. And I think that was, excuse me, on weight and height. So if the R is 1, I can say the height is related to the weight. The height affects the weight because it has an R of 1, which means this is definitely dependent on the height. Okay, so you need to be able to do those things. You need to be able to graph these, and you will have one where you have to switch the sign, and then the rest is all going to be on scatter plots. You're going to have to be able to put this in your line 1, line 2, get the linear regression, and also tell me what the R factor means. And there is, excuse me, there's one question on identifying the max and min. So when you go to your window, remember what to look at. This is the X, this is the Y. What would I put in for the minimum value? What would I put in for the maximum? How would the scale go? And same thing here, minimum, maximum, and what scale to use. So those are all your questions. It'll be short quiz tomorrow, but you need to make sure that you could do all those things. So I'm gonna give you the rest of the time to do some studying tonight. So hopefully you stay dry, and hopefully the Tigers will bring another one in against the Athletics tonight. Go Tigers! Rah!